Welcome to the next English episode of the Dutch BI podcast, also known as the Nederlandse BI podcast, episode number 674, season 11. And today we have 3 topics, but before we start off, and of course I'm not alone again. So who is in the podcast today with me? It's Tim.
Hello.
Xavier.
Hi.
And Jeff. And basically today we have 3 topics. Number 1 is the SAP Data Summit Netherlands, which was the first one, which actually was ran in the Netherlands yesterday. The second part is the Gartner Magic Quadrant. So Tim posted a nice analysis on LinkedIn, and I'm sure that Xavier will do the same because he has done that for the last 10 years. And last but not least, the BDC update, if there is any. So let's start off with the Data Summit. So Tim, how was it?
Yeah, I heard some very good stories about it, but you were the one that were there, so.
Oh yeah. So it is a customer event. It was in Maasen. So there were over 200 clients. So consultants are basically not allowed, except when you're a partner. Then you're allowed to at least be there with a booth or a small booth. So there was a lot of AI and a lot of BDC. That was not a surprise because the topic was data and AI. Great sessions, a lot of customer sessions. So our old client Versuni was on stage, where they were talking about the integration between DataSphere and Databricks. So they're currently running that, and in the future they will be running Databricks brownfield on top of DataSphere. So basically they will have one of the first BDC implementations, and what I understood is that they will go live or start, but I guess start in September this year. Then we had a combined session between SAP and Interdops ourselves. So we were talking about BW modernization. So we showed the www.bwretirement.com timer. So a couple of years left before BW burns down, as we know. And what else was there? Some sessions about self-service. And of course, there was something new. I saw the BW product generator.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. So apparently it's and what was shown yesterday was the BW4 variant, because that is of course in UI5, and it basically what happens is on the BW side, you basically go to the ODQ, or it's a new transaction, but basically what you do is you subscribe to one of your info providers. Then you choose if you want to have the data in full or in delta or streaming. Then a local table is generated on the DataSphere side in the object store, and then the data comes in, and it automatically figures out if the semantics of the underlying data source changes. You can update that, and the data flows into the object store, which is basically the SAP Data Lake. So it was pretty nice to see that in action. Looked polished, to be honest. So yeah, looked okay. And I also saw an example between the DataSphere catalog and the Unity catalog from Databricks. So apparently these also talk to each other, because Databricks is using an open protocol, which is the same as DataSphere is using, ORD, whatever it is. So yeah, that was nice to see. And apparently
this is all available, Ronald, at the moment, or is this?
That's a very good question. I think this
demo
data product. No. I think the data product generator is released now, is what I understood, and it's only released, of course, in PCE. So probably nobody's using it yet, because I don't know how many BW PCE clients there are currently in BDC, but probably not too many. But that functionality is available for BW 7.5. Then it's a GUI transaction, and in BW for HANA. I think it was ready, is what I understood. These data products and this data catalog, that Unity catalog is using the DataSphere APIs, the same as Colibra is using. What I understood yesterday is that the Unity catalog is very technical and Colibra is not. And I thought, I think Colibra is also pretty technical, but there is apparently a difference between the two.
Yeah, so we had the session a few weeks ago with some guys from Colibra, and they were talking about business lineage. which is different to technical lineage, and that's something to do with horizontal and vertical, but apparently DataSphere only offers the option to have technical lineage. So that's it's a bit confusing, all these terms when working with Collibra, basically.
Yeah. And the surprising part was that that's not that surprising, but Collibra was on stage, Databricks was on stage. I think actually there were more Databricks and Collibra people than SAP people on that event yesterday. So from the vendor side, which was flabbergasted. Many Databricks people. Very happy marriage. Sessions between Microsoft and Joule. Microsoft Copilot and Joule, and the bi-directional integration. So everybody loves each other, apparently, nowadays in the data world. So all the vendors are very happy.
No Snowflake people? No?
No Snowflake people. No.
They were protesting outside of the building.
It's still, if you look at the revenue, there was a revenue officer of EMEA probably yesterday, Jan, and he was talking about how Databricks is such a great product. And I thought, oh man, this is so weird. I mean, it's a competitor, right? Yeah, it's but yeah, I understand what he's saying, and yeah, but still, it's I wonder what's going to happen, because if there was a tremendous amount of I mean, there's large interest in BDC, I can see that, but there's also extremely large interest in Databricks. So yeah, people seem to love it.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was the Data Summit, and you guys know everything about the Gartner Magic Quadrant. So who wants to comment? Tim, probably.
So we went through the Magic Quadrant report basically, and it's 64 pages long as always. The first thing that when reading that report is it's a bit confusing, because they're taking some sort of definition to score all the different vendors, the 20 something vendors that are in the report. And basically what they're saying is we only take you into this report or into consideration if you have A, B, C, D, E, and F. And there is only, I think, 2 or 3 products that tick that box, basically. So where we see nowadays with customers that they go for a hybrid landscape, so they have some Databricks, so they have some Microsoft, and they have some SAP, etc., etc. The Gartner report says basically, well, that's not something we want to talk about. We're going end to end. And then when you get eventually to the SAP part, all of a sudden Gartner seems to step out of that definition and only takes SAP Analytics Cloud into consideration for the Gartner Magic Quadrant, which is a really weird step, especially when you compare it to Microsoft, where Fabric is taken into account, and Power BI and Copilot are all of a sudden components in that one big Microsoft Fabric. Feels a bit like an unfair advantage that Microsoft is getting in this report, and I'm not sure Xavier concluded that earlier years, but
so I'm reading this every year, and it's slowly moving. This whole quadrant, there are no big steps year over year, and the problem that SAP has. SAP is seen as I believe, a visionary and not as a leader. So Microsoft, that's then the top leader. That has to do with the definition of this report. Planning, for example, is not included in the checkboxes that are needed to get into the report.
Yeah. And
SAP and its cloud is very good at planning, while all the other tools might not have any planning solution. So, planning is a big pillar in SAC, but it's not really having value in these kinds of reports. And I will never see SAP as a leader in this kind of quadrant, as long as they don't take, for example, planning into account. But then they do mention DataSphere and also Data Business Cloud or Business Data Cloud in the SAP part, right?
Yeah, but only once basically. So the major gist of the report is based on SAP Analytics Cloud. They're talking about live connections towards an enterprise SAP application, but they are not mentioning that SAP DataSphere needs to be in between that to make it actually work. So of course you could put SAP SuccessFactors and SAC, or you can put SAP Analytics Cloud on top of SAP SuccessFactors, but it will not be a good idea, I guess. And one of the big missing points or vendors in this quadrant is Databricks, in my opinion. So
it is mentioned.
It is mentioned. It is mentioned as indeed. Yeah, you have to go through everything. But that's what I'm a bit concerned about this quadrant every time. Is if you look at LinkedIn now, you only see the quadrant. You don't see the full report. You don't see. So everyone is just looking at the one picture, and they're seeing Microsoft being on the top right, basically. Microsoft clearly won this one.
Yeah.
They always win.
They always win. And if you go through the report, it gets a bit. Well, if you know what is actually in Fabric, I think it's not completely the whole story, basically.
Yeah, but Databricks is not offering a full platform, right?
Yeah.
With reporting,
which is true. Yeah. And
so that's why they fall outside of this whole exercise.
Yeah.
So do they fall in a Magic Quadrant then? In another one?
Yeah, they fall in the data science and machine learning quadrant. And there they are leading. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they are not the only one. Snowflake is also not included. Spotfire also not in.
Well, Spotfire was actually in here in the past,
they
but they
fell out of
dropped
it.
out because of missing something. Yeah, and one of the things that you can also see when you compare the last year's quarters to this one is the shift towards visionary, and that's all based on AI. So if for some reason, or if you have any vision on AI, you are placed more to the right than last year, basically, which in my opinion is still a bit early. Because if we take Joule, for example, if you're going to put SAP more towards the visionary part based on Joule, I don't think that's a good idea, to be honest. Or we're not there yet. So, going through that report, it feels a bit short-sighted, let's say. So,
I remember 10 years ago when SAC started and we came from SAP Business Objects. Then the report stated, well, SAC looks nice, but it can only do 10%.
Yeah.
Well, at the same time, 90% of the customers were still using Business Objects with all these features and all these well-developed tools like Crystal, Webby, etc. And they were not taken into account anymore because SAC was the way forward also for Gartner. So it's really a definition on like you mentioned, Tim, what are we exactly looking at here? So it's tricky to make conclusions based on this image.
One of the worrying points about SAP, for example, was the fact that the Business Data Cloud is not available in Google and Microsoft at the moment. And I'm thinking, that's going to come for sure.
But,
I mean, it's out for 3 months. So I'm not worried that will not come, basically. So, it's, again, you need to know the whole story. And that's what they're stating at the end, right? You cannot use this report as a vendor comparison. But if you make this quadrant with that one picture, you're comparing vendors. So it's a bit
Well, they of course do have the point on the SAP ecosystem. So outside of the SAP world, nobody is using SAC DataSphere.
Yeah, that's completely true.
And for Microsoft, that's completely different, of course.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. So I think there was some. SAP has always been fighting for a higher position in the Magic Quadrant, but apparently they never succeeded. So they all have this parallel studies they then put themselves into by paying money, I think. And that's probably, I don't know how objective Gartner is. I have no clue. Probably pretty objective, but still it's subjective, the analysts which are behind it, I guess.
That's based on customer interviews.
Depends on who you ask then. Huh?
It's also a bit weird, right, that you, on the other hand, give consultancy based on this quadrant. So you're going to consult a vendor on how he can get higher or more to the right, basically, top right, in this quadrant. So, yeah. It feels a little bit like, how do you say it in Dutch? A butcher qualifying his own meat. So,
maybe next year they will be higher, because I think they will be scoring high on integration, and Gartner likes integration, so maybe that part will succeed then. And maybe Databricks will have a front end. Probably not, because I think the front end is Power BI more or less. But
What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, is it really usable? Yeah, that's.
What Databricks or?
No, this report. You have a lot of reports. Also, you have Forrester, you have the Bark reports. Indeed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What I find interesting is to look at the main competitors to see what Gartner is seeing as cautions or strengths of them. So, for example, for Microsoft, apparently there's a big price increase in this whole Power BI licensing, about 40% in 1 year. Well, there could be something. Last year they had Power BI governance issues with all these Power BI reports that are floating throughout organizations. It's just interesting to see those snippets on the other side, as to speak.
Yeah, that is totally true. But then if you know the world where SAP is living in, and then you're looking at the cautions that are summed up for SAP, and you're reading them and thinking, is that really something that you should be worried about as a customer?
Not if you already are using SAP, but let's say you don't have anything. Will you then ever go to an SAP solution?
Yeah. But for example, again, back going to the hyperscalers, if you're reading, the caution is that BDC is only on AWS cloud. If you're in the SAP community like us, that's not a caution. It's just something that it's not available in this after 3 months, but it will be there. DataSphere is already on Google Cloud and Azure. So, and if you're reading through that, and I'm thinking, how seriously can I take the other vendors? Because if they have similar problems, so it's I agree with Jeff. How usable is this report? On the other hand, it's always a report that's talked about a lot.
If you're a CIO and you don't take a visionary vendor, then you have something to explain, I think. So so it is a very, very, very serious report, and that's it, I guess. Maybe in the future, we'll see. All right.
We'll keep them sharp.
Yes. Is there anything to tell about the BDC except for the BW generator we just mentioned? Or a BDC or DataSphere or SAC? The umbrella?
Jeff mentioned something today, which is quite big, I guess.
Yeah, indeed. I heard it through the grapevine, some rumors, but I saw it was already posted that there is a SAP Data connection. SAP Data is known for its connectors, live connections, and apparently they're going to work together with SAP BDC. We know that in SAP Linux Cloud, the live SQL connection has been under development for quite some years now, and they finally released, I think last quarter, the Google BigQuery live connection. And other live SQL connections were coming or were on the roadmap, but now it seems that SAP wants to accelerate that more and really work together with existing JDBC connectors and other connectors from C Data. So they really are gonna partner, and that will open up a whole bunch of live connectivity options. I think either directly in SC or as part of BDC. That's unsure, but at least it's out there since yesterday. I think the news article was. So very exciting, right? But Tim, you worked with C Data before, or?
Yeah, we've used C Data with quite a lot of customers. So basically, what they have is the Swiss Army of connectivity. So and what they are capable of is translating some difficult APIs into a tabular format, which is ideal for a data warehouse, of course. So this partnership is a good thing, I think, especially for a business data cloud to get data in from external vendors. I'm just my questions are around licensing. So how will this be licensed? Basically, can you buy one big C Data license that you can use for everything, or is it per vendor that you're trying to get in, or that's still a bit fake?
No, I think they were going to use it in the background. I don't think the customer will see it.
Yeah, that might also be true. Yeah.
Well, it's good that they are using C Data. We like them, so it's a good. They have good drivers, so it's. I understand why they're partnering with them. It's maybe a bit late, but because we have been using it since I don't know, probably 10 years or so. Yeah. In the SDI days and connecting to BW. DataSphere also works fine if you use the Camel JDBC adapter. So it's good stuff. All right, is there anything on the SAC side? Oh, it's quiet. That's the reason why they're not in the Magic Quadrant.
Well, you had some rumors, Ronald, but we still don't know what it is. Architectural overhaul things, but from them.
What was that again?
Yeah, you heard things in Sapphire, right?
I don't remember. What was it? I honestly can't remember. I know the SAC planning stuff, but what did I say? I have no clue.
You said something. They're working on something big. But
that story. Yeah, exactly. But that's a very vague rumor. So they're still working on something big. So we'll see what happens. But
Lumira 4.0.
No, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah, indeed. What was it again? Can't remember. Yeah, whatever. I guess they need to do that from time to time, come up with something big. But it seems to me that SAC is a bit frozen at the moment. But I'm not in the space enough. Well, I don't see too many.
I saw Xavier and Jeff sending out some tweets to each other about objects that were generated all of a sudden after the last update.
Yeah, that's not really a feature.
It's more a side effect of the quarter.
Side effect, yeah.
Yeah. But I think a lot of features are waiting for the HANA Cloud.
That's it, of course.
Yeah, the whole infrastructure is moving from HANA Enterprise or HANA 2.0 underneath to HANA Cloud. And I think that's blocking a lot of these releases, a lot of these developments. So I hope they really start going with those migrations and that they are able to roll out later this year some bigger features. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that. Yeah, that they were doing that. Oh well. Yeah. We'll see what happened then. Okay. Any other things? We're all through it. So I saw the first TechEd mails flying in. So TechEd is also on the radar. We're going to Berlin, I think. Yep. So that's good. So we have an on-site meeting again. That has been a while. So I guess that ASAC USA will also stop with their own conference then again. Probably put out the normal USA TechEd. Wonder where it is. Probably in Vegas again. Or Orlando, one of the two.
Do you think there will be a TechEd in the US this year?
I think there is, actually. I
think
there
only,
was.
Only Germany.
Yeah? Oh, I thought
Yeah,
I saw
I thought they were going down through the world every 3-4 years or something.
Oh, yeah, that was it.
This year it's Europe, and next year it's Asia. And
yeah, that was true, yeah. Okay, well, then there will be an ASUG annual conference in the US, for sure, as a substitute to TechEd. It's apparently very popular. It's very well visited last year. Good stuff. All right, then I think we're through it again, if that's English. Then I would like to thank everybody who was listening, for sticking around, and speak to you next time.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.